Hello and welcome back to Only Analog. Today we're taking another look at some more panoramic film photography goodness. Now, before we get started today, I need to apologise for continuously calling them X-Pans in previous videos. Obviously, we know they're not called X-Pans. It's something that me and Tom started calling them after the X-Pan hack video that we created, and it just kind of stuck. So obviously we're trying our best now to stop calling them X-Pans and start calling them panoramics. Now, before we get started on today's panoramic film photos, I just want to talk a little bit more about the methods I use, the film stocks I've used in today's video, and a little bit more about this way of shooting. And if you want to go and see the Pentax 6.7 in action without all of my waffle, please feel free to use the time codes below to skip ahead. So in these panoramic videos, I'm quite often asked about what lens I use. My usual go-to is the 55mm f4, which is this little beauty. And the reason I use this is because I feel it creates a much more cinematic feel to the end results. Using this lens creates such a vast and wide shot that fits into the space on the 35mm film. Using such a wide lens isn't a massive necessity. I've seen a lot of photographers create absolutely beautiful pieces of work using the 105, the 135 and even the 200. But as I said, for me, this is my favourite way of shooting for both the style that I'm after, and it sort of just fits in better with my daily shooting and my workflow. So today's a 3-part video with 3 different film stocks, so please do stick around for this one. So in today's video I'll be using some Kodak ColourPlus, some Kodak Ultramax 400 and some expired Portra 160 VC. And in between each film stock I'm just going to cut in and talk a little bit more about the film and the format itself. So in this first part today we are shooting some Kodak ColourPlus down in Hastings. Enjoy. So I don't shoot my panoramics in colour that often. I find that the black and white lends itself a lot more towards the panoramic aspect. And I've mentioned this before, but I quite often feel I try and tell stories in my panoramics. The colour it doesn't do that as much for me, and there's always something that I find lacking. Maybe it's just my personal preference, and in a lot of these shots I just can't help but feel they look a lot better in black and white. Having said that, these colour shots still look great. It still creates that cinematic feel, almost like movie stills. It's definitely something that I can't get enough of. So in the second part we're moving on to some Kodak Ultramax 400, and I teamed up with Tom and took a little trip down to the beautiful town of Rye. Enjoy. So I often do a lot of research and take the time to look at other artists' panoramics. And there's some photographers out there that create these incredible panoramic shots. And there's a lot of ways that you can achieve this look. Through my experience, a lot of people that shoot through the Pentax 6.7 often class it as gimmicky or a one-off. You know, something you'd buy and try for a one-off and then just drop it and leave it. But personally, I love using the Pentax 6.7 for a number of reasons. I think once you know how to create this look through the Pentax 6.7, it's super easy. The Pentax 6.7 is lovely to shoot with, and I think the results speak for themselves. And I mean, I've taken some of my favourite shots using this method. But I guess it all boils down to what you have accessible to you. And as I said, there's plenty of ways to do it. And if you want to learn a little bit more on how to create this for your Pentax 6.7 or a camera of your own, stick around to the end of this video and I'll leave it at the end, and I'll also leave it in the description as well if you want to go and check it out. And now we're moving on to my roll of Portra 160 VC that I've had laying around for quite a long time. And the reason I used this expired film is I thought it might create some interesting colour shifts that would fit nicely with the panoramic format. So we ventured down to Folkestone to see what we could create. So thank you very much for joining me on today's episode, and thank you if you've made it this far. I had an absolute blast creating this one. As I said, colour's not really my go-to with panoramic photography, but it definitely created some interesting works of art in my opinion. As I said, the black and white panoramic photography definitely suits my style a lot more. I feel it's easier for me to tell stories, and it just has that cinematic, magical edge over the colour, I guess you could say. I feel like the nature of the storytelling through black and white is definitely a lot more prominent, And for me, that's obviously something I strive for in these shots. And just for a bit of reference, here are some of the shots that I've taken today that are converted into black and white. Obviously, I'd never usually do this. If I'm using a film stock, I'd shoot it and leave it as it is. I wouldn't mess around and edit it too much. If I was going to do that, obviously I'd probably just shoot digital. But there's a few in there that I love in colour that I wouldn't convert to black and white. But I think for the majority, if I was shooting black and white, I'd enjoy the end result a lot more. But yeah, again, that's just personal preference. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Obviously you can let me know in the comments below whether you prefer black and white or colour. But there are definitely a few keepers in today's video, and definitely a few that are going to be going into the portfolio. As I said, please do let me know what you thought about today's video. Let me know if you want to see more of this as well. I absolutely love creating these, so it's always good to get feedback from you guys on how you feel about them and whether you would like to see more. Also drop a like and please do subscribe as well. It's the best way to support this channel and we really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for watching today. Stay safe, happy shooting, and I'll catch you very soon in the next one. Peace.